Star Wars, Marvel, and Power Rangers. What do they all have in common? Collector's figures. With the Power Rangers toy license leaving Bandai next year, I want to share my thoughts on how Hasbro can handle the franchise. I specifically want to discuss collector's figures, as Hasbro is responsible for beginning the trend with the Marvel Legends and the Star Wars Black Series. Considering how Bandai is trying to follow in their footsteps, for better or for worse, here are some ideas on how Hasbro can handle the new legacy figures. I'm JulioCoolio, and today we'll be discussing what I want to see in year 1 of Hasbro's Power Rangers legacy figures. Let's begin with the Rangers taking center stage next year, the Beast Morphers. As of this recording, there is no information on the series besides a brief story outline, so I'll mainly be basing this section off of things seen in Go Busters. This is also assuming that the rumor of Beast Morphers being only 20 episodes is true. The figures included in this wave would be the red, blue, yellow, gold, and silver Rangers, along with Enter and Escape. The main 3 Rangers would include their Ichigan Busters, Sogen Blades, and Ichigan Busters Special, while gold and silver would include their Morphing Blasters and their Dry Blades. Enter would include his laptop and his sword, while Escape would include her blasters. And both of those would be based off of their monster forms, unless Hasbro wants to do their human forms instead. And the Build-A-Figure that I decided to choose is Dark Buster, considering a bunch of people like me really like his design. And plus you could use Enter's sword as the sword for Dark Buster, so you're already killing 2 birds with 1 stone. Again, nothing is confirmed, and this is going off if Beast Morphers is only 20 episodes. If Beast Morphers is 20 episodes, we can assume that it will play out a lot faster than other Saban seasons. However, these are some figures that many fans would definitely want to see. I am just waiting for S.P.D figures. Not only is it my favorite Power Ranger season, but seeing how Beast Morphers is set in the future, why not release a team that did something similar? My figure options for this wave would be the red, blue, green, yellow, pink, shadow, and Omega Rangers. The Red Ranger would include his Delta Blasters, separate and combined, while the rest of the team would come with their Delta Max Strikers, separate and combined, so it would be 3 modes. The Shadow Ranger would come with an open and closed version of his Shadow Saber, while the Omega Ranger would come with Rick as a cannon. He really doesn't have any weapons, so I had to make up something. And not to mention that the Pink Ranger would also come with Rick, but in his canine mode. For the Build-A-Figure, I decided to pick a Ranger that many people have wanted to see for a long time, and that is the Cat Ranger. She has no weapons, and plus we've never gotten a figure of her, so it'd be interesting to get a Build-A-Figure based off of the Cat Ranger. Seeing Bandai's release schedule for the legacy figures, it seems like S.P.D was going to be pretty close. So I wonder if Hasbro is going to take a page from Bandai's book. Only time will tell. Going back to the idea of releasing teams similar to the current series, this is a no-brainer. R.P.M could be cited as the inspiration for Go Busters due to similar plot and tone. Considering how R.P.M has 7 Rangers, the slots already fill themselves in. The main 5 Rangers would each include 2 modes of the Nitro Blaster and their respective weapons, while Blue and Yellow would also come with the Rail Saber and the Rail Blaster. Gold and Silver would include their Cloud Hatchets and their Sky Shift Blazers. Now, R.P.M doesn't have an 8th Ranger, so for the Build-A-Figure I decided to go with a character who's just as important as the actual Rangers themselves. Dr. K herself. Considering how next year will be the 10th anniversary of R.P.M, and not to mention the premiere of Beast Morphers, this is a no-brainer. And we haven't had R.P.M figures in a while, so why not go ahead and do it? Okay, now that we've gone over some unreleased teams, let's point out the elephant in the room. We're all sick of Mighty Morphin thanks to Bandai's constant milking of the series. Mighty Morphin this, Mighty Morphin that, Mighty Morphin shut up! However, Hasbro isn't going to lose out on that sweet nostalgia cash. The figures included for this wave would be the red, blue, black, yellow, pink, green, and white Rangers respectively. The core 5 Rangers would each include 3 modes of their Blade Blaster and their respective weapons. Meanwhile, the Green Ranger would have his Dragon Dagger and his Sword of Darkness, along with some interchangeable hands. Yeah, I really didn't think of any other way you could do this figure, so I copied the Bandai template. As for the White Ranger, he wouldn't include just Saba, but also the combined Power Blaster. One of the things that I have major gripes with the Legacy Metallic Mighty Morphin Rangers is the fact that their weapons don't combine, or they don't even go into their separate modes like Billy's Power Lance. However, we could just solve that issue by having a combined Power Blaster, so you could have the option of giving the team the Power Blaster or giving them their individual weapons. As for the Build-A-Figure, I know this is going to be kind of repetitive considering the fact that the Psycho Rangers are already including him as the Build-A-Figure, but I would put in Alpha 5, simply because he's the easiest character to do. And a Build-A-Figure of Zordon, I can't really picture it in my head. In terms of marketing, Mighty Morphin would be a great way to start out this figure line, as it's already an iconic team. However, because of the oversaturation in the last couple of years, I think they should consider holding off for now. Seeing how the comics are a big thing, Hasbro would be nuts to pass up on this. I know what you're thinking. How will these sell? Well, Hasbro does have a website where you can order directly and even buy some exclusives. These figures can even be sold in stores if Hasbro wants to pander towards nostalgia. Seeing as the comics are targeted towards older fans, this can be a great way to release figures based on those characters and appeal to the collectors. I'll mainly be discussing characters from the currently running Shattered Grid story, and these would include Lord Draken, the Red Sentry, the Yellow Sentry, the Pink Sentry, the Black Sentry, the Blue Samurai Sentry, and the Green Zeo Sentry. Lord Draken would include the Dragon Dagger and 2 versions of Saba, a normal one and one without its head. Because spoilers for Shattered Grid! Plus, he's the only figure in this list so far to include his human head. I really didn't think about human faces on the figures because I want to keep these figures simple for now, until we know what Hasbro could be doing. The Sentries would include their weapons, such as red with the blade and the Z-Staff, yellow with the guns, pink with the sniper, and black with the cannon, as well as blue with the blades. As for the Build-A-Figure, it would be the pieces for the Green Zeo tank, so that the Green Zeo Sentry could pilot it. I mainly was inspired by Spider-Man Homecoming's wave and how they had a figure of the Vulture, but the Build-A-Figure was the Vulture's wings. Seeing how Shattered Grid is a huge deal in the Power Rangers universe right now, Hasbro doesn't want to pass up on this. Especially if they're trying to win over the collectors of, hey, we're better than Bandai. To end off this wish list of legacy figures, let's talk about Hyperforce. Going back to the idea of gearing towards collectors, this wave would be a great way to explore characters who've barely or never received any figures. The figures included in this wave would be the red, blue, yellow, pink, black, and green Hyperforce Rangers, as well as the Time Force Silver Ranger. The Core 5 Hyperforce Rangers would include their Hyperforce Blade Blasters and their respective weapons, as each Ranger has 2 different weapons. The Green Ranger I'm not sure of concerning he just appeared in Hyperforce and we don't know what type of weapons he has. As for the Time Force Silver Ranger, he would include his Chrono Blaster and his Chrono Saber. Similar to Mighty Morphin, the Build-A-Figure would be an Alpha robot, this time being Alpha 55. While I can see Hyperforce toys being created through something like HasLab, Hasbro should try to expand on teams that aren't just limited to the shows. Plus, the Hyperforce designs look pretty cool and I'm pretty sure that any kid would buy it even if they haven't actually watched Hyperforce. But overall, Hyperforce would be a great wave to have for the legacy figures. So those are my picks on some of the legacy figures I'd like to see from Hasbro. What do you guys think? What figures do you want to see? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. Make sure to like this video and subscribe for more content like this. Depending on how well this video does, I may do a sequel where I discuss more teams that I'd love to see as legacy figures. Let's get to 10 likes. 10 likes and I'll make the sequel. Well, until then, I'm Julio, and stay coolio. Thanks for watching.